Hello. Hi. Hello. Good morning. Afternoon. It's like 2 minutes past afternoon. It's like 2 minutes. A little bit. Hello. Hi Aki. Hi Rab. Do you like my new starting screen? I actually really like how it turned out. I think it's super cute. Yeah. I was actually trying to speedrun a transition screen, and I did finish it, but I didn't. It's giving me grief trying to set it up, so I'll have it for tomorrow. Yeah. I was like, okay, I was getting like tired of looking at that apple, the PNG of an apple, so I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's make a cute starting screen. Today we're playing Protostar Twilight. I finally got it to work. Thank goodness. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm so excited. I'll miss your Apple loading screen. Well, it'll still be there for the end screen. It'll still be there for a little bit. I do have one. I did commission an ending screen, so I'll have one sometime. You should keep the Apple forever. Maybe once in a while. Maybe once in a while I use the Apple screen. I don't know. I think mine's cuter though. Make the Apple the BRB screen. That was my intention originally when I when I uh when I put it there. But then I was like, okay, wait, but I don't have a starting and ending screen. So it ended up just being used for everything. It can be the BRB screen for now. Yours is cuter. Yeah, see, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm not gonna lie, when I made it, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I have like 3 different versions, but I didn't like them, so I was like, okay, you know what? That's probably why it took so long. Because I didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, how about I'll do this? And then I didn't like it. I was like, okay, I'll just do a winky face. But I'm happy how it turned out in the end. Let's see, Protostar Twilight. I actually haven't seen anything on this game yet, cause I was like, spoiler free. Like I wanna play on my own. So this is what we're playing today. It's another Holoindie fan game for Holostars. So it's by Tactical Elysium, and I'm super excited. It's an RPG, so hopefully I don't fumble too much. But yeah. How much did you grind Project Diva off stream? I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it after stream. I did have like 4 hours to play it, so sure. No, it's true. It's true. Why do you not believe me? I'm not a liar. I wouldn't lie to you guys. Ringo was playing it all night for sure. What do you mean? What? What are you talking about? I wasn't playing it. I was in your stream, Aki. Hello. Okay, you know what? Let's just play. Let's just play. Let's just play. Do I need my cursor? I don't think so. I'm gonna turn it off. Cause it's kind of annoying to look at. Denial is the first stage of having an addiction. Okay. Okay. Can I full screen this? I can. Okay. Oh, but then I can't see my own cursor. Okay, never mind. Whoops. No! Oh gosh. You can play while watching a stream. I was actively chatting! What the heck? Okay guys, today we're playing Project Diva. No, I already played it for 4. I only played it for 4 hours, and that was the 4 hours on stream. Okay. Um. Map unit HP. What does that mean? What the number? Oh. Map unit. Okay, okay, yeah. Okay. Select a difficulty. You guys are gonna tell me to do a hard mode, but a bug that can cause a game to crash after the credits play. This is a known bug in the game engine that has yet to be fixed and may occur when either playing the game for a long period of time and or when running a VTuber model. Unfortunately, we cannot pinpoint the exact cause of the issue, as it also appears to be hardware specific. We suggest making a save on the turn before clearing the final map just in case of a crash. Just in case of a crash to avoid losing progress. Uh-oh. Please be aware that while this project is very loosely based on the lore of Holostars English, it is purely fan-made and not intended to be considered canonical. Okay, content warnings for you guys. Flashing lights, violent language, distressing themes, body horror, claustrophobia, graphic violence, gore, swearing, mention of self-harm, and death and torture. Trigger content warning, trigger warnings. Maybe I should put these in the oops. Okay, never mind. This game is best played with the controller. Oh. But certain menus are better viewed playing with mouse and keyboard. Well, I don't have my controller right now, so we received a quest 5 days ago. Some strange phenomenon is happening in a smaller town not too far away. There was no name on the request. It was simply signed friend. Now, some might say we shouldn't accept such a cryptic quest, but we had no choice. The reward was way too good to overlook. It won't hurt to check it out and see if we can handle it, right? Oh no, that's the first warning, guys. Man, being broke sucks. It really does. Act 0. Oh my gosh, credits. Oh, wait, the background is so pretty. Wait, I'm gonna full screen it. But then I can't see my cursor. It's a sunny day in the higher mountains of Elysium. This mountain in particular is the mysterious peak at the heart of their quest. Hold up, wait, when I full screen it does something weird on stream. What the heck? I guess I'm not full screening it. Okay, I'll just play windowed, it's okay. People complain of a strange sensation if they ever come too close to it. The mountain is named the Traveler. No one knows why. The name was whispered long before anyone lived here. After scouting, Shinri and Flayon gave the green light that the area was safe. At noon, Tempest gathered near the cliffs to begin investigating. Oh my gosh! That's cute! Cute sprites. There you are. Flayon and I have been waiting for you guys. All good? Did you get any information? I'm not gonna be good at imitating their voices, so I'm not gonna. Maybe not today. Vesper is the first to arrive together with Axel. The rest of the team a few yards behind them. How big is 1 yard? I don't know freedom units, guys. I only know metric. The scholar's expression is thoughtful as he thinks over Shinri's question. It's a bit odd. The story's the same, but there are a few unique details. Some complained about headaches the moment they got too close to the mountain. Some mentioned falling ill for a few days. And a handful mentioned panic attacks at night when they slept near the mountain. Wow, that's scary. Just stay far away from the mountain, easy. Crops take longer, they taste like crap, all sorts of things, you know? That's kind of funny. Do you think that's the work of a pissed off witch or mage? Them cursing a mountain isn't too unusual. Certain types of dragons could do this, especially elder elemental ones. Or maybe the people are just kinda paranoid? When Vesper asked, a few guys even started to cry before he finished his sentence. Oh. That's so sad. Must be traumatizing. Fairy tales can be a great way to keep people under control, you know? Oh my gosh, it's Beto and Magni. Possible, but unlikely. Fairy tales don't just appear out of nowhere. There's always a reason. Magni walks up next to Beto, who holds Phantom between his hands like a hamburger. Hamburger. Amabunnie burger? Bun burger? No, I won't do that to you guys. I won't eat you guys, don't worry. I'm not the type of VTuber to do that. Trust. Sounds like people really do fear something they can't even see. Maybe a mournful spirit? The rest of the team follows close behind, in good spirits. I was thinking about that too, Flayon. But I can't sense any spirits roaming around here. Ringo's going to eat us and leave for a week. What the heck? Okay, what? Holiday season. Holiday season. You guys should have fun too. At least, not the kind that would cause these problems. Haka sighs deeply as Altera arrives with his phone in his hand, hastily typing something. Well, that just means we have to figure it out ourselves. Ready to get the job done, Altera points at Axel. Axel, can you check out the area near the cliff with Haka and Flayon? Sure thing, boss, no problem. Axel jokingly salutes, then pulls both Haka and Flayon by the wrist toward the cliff. Everyone hears Flayon complaining as the group leaves. I want to check out that section over there. Maybe Shinri and Flayon overlooked something. Magni, Beto, would you do me the honor of joining me? Sure thing, Vespi. Vespi? Come on, Phantom. Let's check some stuff out. No problem. Don't spread out too much, alright? This is unknown territory. Yeah, I got it. No splitting up. Man, what do you think this is? A horror game? Uh-oh. Famous last words. Snorting, Magni waves at Altair, leaving him with Shinri, who struggles to hide a smile. What? What are you smiling at, huh? Nothing, just enjoying the moments we spent together as a guild. Do we want to check out the other area? Yeah. Let's see if we find something that'll help figure this out. 3 hours passed. 3 hours! No one finds anything that'll help figure this out. Flayon joins the team with his face puffy and his arms crossed. Nothing. We found nothing. This is getting annoying. I'm getting the feeling this is all just a huge joke. Understandable, but we should continue the search. Do we really have to? I mean, we've been searching for hours and all we found are sticks and stones. I love how small he is. It's lore accurate. And Phantom probably is too. Right, He's not there. Where's Phantom? He was on his Betel's shoulder before. He's gone. Betel suddenly looks freaked out. You good? Did you see a ghost or something? Phantom isn't here. He was. I'm sure I took him with me when we headed back. Poor Phantom got abandoned! Oh my gosh, Betel, how could you? I remember him walking next to you when we returned. Maybe he found something? Hang on, don't worry. I can find him. Just give me 1 second. Flayon raises up a hand and draws something in the air, creating a screen out of nothing. After he types a few buttons, a tiny red dot appears on the screen. There he is, just around the corner, like a 2-minute walk away from us. Near the cliff? What the hell is Phantom doing there all alone? It doesn't matter. Let's go get him. Well, maybe he really found something, and he's waiting for us. Well, time to pick the doggy up. With Flayon in the lead, Tempest makes their way back to find Phantom. Dot 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 dot. What's with that face, Haka? Honestly, I don't know. There's something weird in the air. Weird? Like a corruption beast, maybe? Now that you mention it, yeah. Man, that's super specific. How did you know? Because I'm getting the same feeling. Ah. Their conversation ends the moment they finally find Phantom. Uh-oh. He sits near the cliff, staring into the abyss. You good? You good, buddy? Hey, Phantom. There you are, little guy. Gently, Betel picks Phantom up, holding him like a sack of potatoes. What the heck? Hey, Altair? Yeah? Can we go home? You good? I know you're not necessarily the biggest fan of quests like this, but I'm worried about Phantom. He's been acting strange ever since we got close to the cliff here. It's like he's not really here, you know? I'm worried this area's having an effect on him. Uh-oh. Will you allow me to observe Phantom? To ease your mind? Vesper carefully approaches Phantom in Betel's arms, but stops midway. Just then, he turns his head to his left, glaring into the woods. Uh-oh. Corruption Beast? Someone's coming. They're close by. I see them. Right there. Ooh. The music's kind of loud. But new music. Wow. It sounds kind of cool. Between the dark shadows of the trees, a hooded man emerges. From beneath the hood, they can make out a cold, dead smile as he stalks. Who is that? Almost immediately, Altair moves in front of his team and holds his gun saber at the ready. Who are you? Why are you here? That was you, wasn't it? The quest? Did you send us that quest to come here? Oh crap, it's a trap? Well, he's all alone. Can't beat us all, right? I wouldn't test fate too much, Axel. Stay on your guard. Hey, you got it, Gramps. Right back at you. Of course. What do you take me for? The music is a bit loud, is it? Oops. How's this? Should I turn down more? Yeah, it got a lot louder. Is that good? Maybe? It's better? Turn down a little bit more. I think that should be good, maybe? Maybe I can turn down more. Because the music is pretty loud. I think that's good. Maybe it's a little too much. Okay, I think that's good. If you want me to turn it up. Okay, too quiet. Okay. How's this? Yeah, the music got really loud. This track is a lot louder than the other one. That's good? Okay. Enough dilly-dallying. I've waited long enough for your arrival. Now, it's time to take action. What's your deal, bro? You got a problem with us? Silence, clown. He's not a clown. What? What an insult. Oh my gosh. Poor Battle. It's time for battle, not meaningless chatter. Oh, we're fighting him. Okay. Clown? I'm a jest. Altair holds his arm up in front of Battle, silencing him. Why don't you just tell us what you want? The robed man scoffs at that and lifts a hand in front of him to point at Altair. I just did intense voice and tail on hard back to back. Dang! That's crazy. Dude, tail is kind of insane. No, I don't think I will. It's far too early for that. Early? Yes, early. For the time being, why don't you all have a bit of fun with one of my pets? Uh-oh. Is it a corruption beast? Why are you taming corruption beasts? Who are you, Octavio? A deep roar reverberates through the air, and the ground beneath the boys begins to quake. I'm not sure I like that sound. Agreed. Maybe it's time to retreat? I don't think so. Come to me, my puppet. Dude, this is just Octavio. A billowing cloud of pure black smoke seeps from the ground and gathers behind the robed man. Dang! Wait, this is sick. Show them your power. Crush them. Okay, well, let's not lose. The smoke coalesces, taking a large demonic corporeal form. Ready up. Let's show this guy the power of Guild Tempest. Hell yeah, you got it, boss man. Boss man. Whoa! Oh shoot, I'm not good at games like this. Oh no. Okay. Oh my gosh. Healing potion, boost potion. Movement 5. Oh my gosh. Okay. So there's strength, skill, like skill points, I think. Luck, magic, speed, defense, movement. Okay. Oh my gosh. Dang! Dang, Axel, okay. Wait, Haka's stats aren't bad. They're pretty good. Okay, Vettel is just insanely lucky and super fast. Okay. Okay. What is this? Formation. Okay, we're just gonna... We'll save first. Okay, that's settings. Fight. Okay, this is how we start, I guess. Start the chapter, yes. When does the stream switch to Project Diva? Not today. It's so giant. 255 HP! It might be cooked. Okay, Axel. I'm just gonna spam with Axel. First battle jitters, eh? It's fine. We'll take it one step at a time. First things first, you gotta learn how to move. Okay, seems simple enough. How do I do that exactly? First, click on the unit you want to move, then drag yourself to where you want to go, and press the confirm button. Try straight line. It should look something like this. Oh, it just did it for me. That was easy. Can I use this with other guild members too? Yeah, it's the same principle. Try moving Magni to get him beside you. Okay. Move Magni here. Okay, now that you can move, you can go for an attack when you're next to an enemy. I have to be right next to them? Oh no. Make sure to observe your opponent carefully before you attack. Okay, so observe the enemy. Wait, what's with the map? Vesper, there's a lot of numbers. That's your combat stats, crit, attack, all that juicy nerd stuff. You can look it up later in your journal. Just focus on the big number at the top. Looks big and important. Where? Oops. That number shows how likely it is you'll hit the enemy, and if you can hit them twice or thrice. The higher your speed, the more attacks you can do. Oh, that one's clean cut. How do I exit this? Okay. Oh! That was cool. That's a good blow. But did you know you can deal more damage? If you're lucky, you can catch the enemy off guard with a critical hit. If you attack right now... Oh my gosh. That was awesome! My turn, watch this. Wait, Des... Uh-oh. Oh my gosh! 1 HP! Bro! Bro, chill! Oh my gosh. Wait, don't I have a potion with me? Vesper, where did you put the potions? Red or green? Green's for healing, red's for stat boost. You'll find them in your bag. Healing potion. Oh my gosh. Thanks, man. Good job. One last thing, terrain effects. Oh no. Terrain effects. Terrain like grass and other stuff can help you in battle. For example, grass helps you avoid hits. You can find the rest of the nerd stuff in your journal later. Remember to check it now and then. Okay. View important information through the info tab on the battle prep screen. Check things that stand out. Curiosity is often rewarded. Whoa! Interesting. Okay. Let's put Haka here and attack this. Oh my gosh, bro! Okay, maybe... Oops. Okay. Maybe we don't... Oh shoot. Oh, I can't move Haka again, frick. Okay, well... Can I just defeat this guy? Attack. He has high range, right? He can... how's Flame's range? 1 to 2. Well, I think Haka's cooked. No, we're gonna move. We'll move. We'll put Axel here. Just don't die. Oh my gosh. What the heck, bro? Okay, wait. Is this cooked? No way. I can't lose the tutorial, bro. This is terrible. Okay, let's move Altair. Actually, no, we'll move Maggie because he's kind of low. No, not on yourself. Okay. I was gonna give it to Axel or Haka, but I mean. We'll put his range is like 2, right? Yeah, okay, so we'll put him here. Did I already move him? Perform? What does this do? Oops. We'll just attack. Jerry says hi. Can I reach this guy? Probably not, right? No damage? Are you kidding me? 0 damage? What does convoy mean? Okay, we'll put Flam with Shinri. Is this cooked? Surely not, right? We'll put Vesper here. Altair. Can I just leave him here? Yes. Okay. Attack. Surely not, right? Surely not. What the heck? Is that everyone? I think that's everyone. Wait, can I move this guy? No way. Okay. And well, GG. It's over. It's so cooked. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, well, let's get everyone to heal. Oh my gosh. Dog treats. Oh, and then he can't attack. Okay, well, we gotta sacrifice someone. That did nothing. Okay, who has... But I can't attack with Axel! Okay. Okay. Okay, Maggie. If he dies, I'm so sorry. No, he's full. He should be fine, right? Oh my gosh. Bro, that thing did too much damage. Too much damage. The heck? I tired of this. Playtime's over. Damn right it is. You're going down, buddy. Well, I don't think you understand the situation you're in. Why don't you show them? The dragon roars fiercely, paralyzing the entire guild and forcing them to their knees. Beneath them, the ground begins to quake again, but this time, cracks begin to form in the dirt. Uh-oh. I hope you all enjoyed the experience of a lifetime. Uh-oh, what's gonna happen? Suddenly, the dragon takes flight, hovering several feet above the ground. I know I will. Before anyone can blink, the dragon drops its full weight back onto the cliffside. Uh-oh. Altair can do nothing but watch helplessly as the cliff shatters, dropping them into a deep chasm. Uh-oh. GG. End of Act 0. Save. Okay. After falling down the hole, Altair's consciousness has fallen deep into the aether. 5 more minutes. Oh my gosh. Bro just wants to sleep. Unfortunately for the leader of the Tempest Guild, the room full of crystals is too cold and bright. His body awakens with a jolt, the cold finally getting to him. Where am I? Please don't tell me we all got separated. I was struggling with all of them already. Groggily, Altair stands up and wanders through the dungeon. Some of the shadows come from the light of his armor, while others are from distant crystals. Altair's armor glows even more signs to be careful. However, Altair doesn't expect a human-looking shadow lying a few feet away. The shadow is thin, and it looks like it has lost a lot of garments on it. Altair goes for a closer look. Wait, is that who I think it is? Oh no, Magni! It's the great Magni Desmond, unconscious and beaten, but the alchemist nonetheless. Altair grabs the green potion, letting a few drops of the liquid touch Magni's lips. Magni, can you hear me? The alchemist in question wakes up slowly, trying to get up without hurting himself more. Dude, wait. Altair? Where are we? Where's the others? I don't know that either. The best we can do right now is keep exploring. Bro, we all got separated! What the heck? The fact that the alchemist is still in pain doesn't help, nor do the shadows growing behind them. I love how Altair's perfectly fine. I have a bad feeling about this. Bad feeling about what? Shadow monsters. Wait, what? Shadow monsters! Please tell me you've got extra potions in there, Altair. The shadows have the 2 guild members cornered. They have to fight them off. Oh, I have to fight with with these 2? Okay, well. Victory conditions defeat the general. A strange sensation is in the air. It seems to be coming from the east. It might be worth taking a look. So, this guy. Oh my gosh. Darn Maggie and his range of 1. I don't know if I should... Can it even go up this way? Surely, right? Attack. This. What the heck? 1 HP. Wow. Is it a bad idea to split them up? There's a treasure chest though. Okay, we'll put Magni over this side, and then Altair can get this chest. Warning, some paths are more dangerous than others. Be cautious. Oh, you're telling me that now? You're telling me that now? Well, let's just... Okay, wait. Oops. Oh, wait, no! Frick! No, wait. How do I go back? I can't go back! No! Oh, no! Frick. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, I guess. Did I even move Altair? Frick. Okay, I messed up. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I was gonna have Magni heal, but that's okay, I guess. Oh, that's it? Oh, they didn't do anything? Why is it yellow? Poison attack, you're kidding. Please don't do dot, please don't do dot. Magni has like no HP, bruh. Oh, GG. Oh no. Bruh, I just healed. Well, I hope that poison doesn't do dot. Is Magni gonna die? Wait, frick. Movement 2. Okay, so I just need Magni... like, over here. Okay. I don't know why... I don't know why it's, like... yellow, but... Oh my gosh, no! Please don't. Bruh. Bruh. I thought he wasn't gonna move because he's right. He hasn't been moving at all. Bruh. 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 Hi, how's the game? It's good, it's good. I just started it and I kind of fumbled already, but it's okay, it's okay. It's fun, it's fun. How have you been doing? You're just warming up. Yeah, just a warm up, you know? This is only the second one. Only the second battle. Yeah, just a warm up, This looks like a Fire Emblem type game. I've never played Fire Emblem, so I can't compare, but it is an RPG. It's a Holostars fan game called Protostar Twilight. Yeah. You for real? You're getting off easy. Bruh, it's cooked. I'm cooked. Altair, come on, you gotta do more damage than that. Oh, it does do dot. Frick. Okay, we'll go here. Does it even... do these heal, like... do these heal poison? No, it doesn't. It doesn't even heal poison. Bruh. I think Magni has something to heal. No, not again, bruh. I just... come on, bro. Leave it alone. He already has the poison. Leave me alone. Oh my gosh. How's his movement? Holy moly. Okay, then I'm just not gonna move. Yeah. He's not moving either, bruh. Come at me, bro, before I die of this freaking poison. What is convoy? The chest looked out of that guy's hands. Oh, frick, I didn't get that chest yet. Wait. I'll get it now. Crystal record, what's that? I thought I got that chest already. I played quite a few Fire Emblem games, but it's been a long time. I wanna play some. Please don't. Please, bro. Please, 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 please. Oh my gosh. Can you do enough damage? Maybe? Wait. Okay, wait. Oh yay, we beat him. Okay, wait, give me a second. Someone's knocking on my door. Like, really aggressively. One second. Hello, I'm back. Get bombed. Okay. We're losing Ringo forever now? What the heck? I don't know where you heard that from. Recipe book. Some items can be used to grant a skill. Try using the recipe book on Magni in the next unit management screen. On Magni? Okay. It's been like 900 years. It was literally like 1 minute. What the heck are you talking about? That was a close one. If you didn't have those healing potions, I think we'd be done for it. Yeah. I think so too. I think so too. The two guild members walk deeper into the cave as the walls close in at every step. A blue blob appears nearby as they get out of one of the narrower sections. Oh my gosh, it's an adventure! Altair? If this is about me being too tight, I swear. Altair! Do you see that blob? The blob in question is a small slime, looking like an adventurer with small spikes. Oh, it's so cute! If you got vesties in the belfry... Altair turns and sees the blue slime. Oh, that blob. Looks friendly. I would hope so. Indeed, the blob is cute. It keeps staring at Altair, as if waiting for something to happen. The little guy looks safe enough. I guess it wouldn't hurt to get close. It's so cute! I hope it doesn't attack us. Magni still has his weapons ready in case it attacks, and Altair slowly starts singing. Singing? It's smiling! Aww, that's so cute! Keep singing to it. If you could get it calm enough, we could take the little guy as a companion. Oh, wait, this is so cute! Aww. We can do that? Apparently we can. It's in the journal, remember? I didn't read it. I didn't read it. Altair keeps singing to the little slime, and after he asks if it wants to join them, it smiles and makes a blob-like sound. Aw, cutie. Blob blob. I'd love to come with you guys. Oh, it's so cute, bro. Aww. I guess we're bringing him with us then? You could either put him in your pack, or we could have him out and about. I think you'll like him more out and about, won't you? What's a blob-like sound? I don't know. Concept slime. He has to stay out with us. Our intrepid members keep going further in, not knowing what could happen next. Maybe their little slime companion would prove useful. Well, even if he wasn't useful, I would still keep him because he's so cute. You can't shove him in a pack. That's what I'm saying. Act 2. Oh my gosh, I know some of these people. By some, I mean one, but like... Oh my gosh, Haka. Where is this? Where am I? Haka sits up, rubbing his sore back and looking around, taking in the stagnant air. I wonder who he's with. Cause surely they're not all by themselves, right? Surely they'll have like at least one other person with them. Maybe it'll grow into a Mimudu and hard carry. Hope, maybe. I hope so. That'd be so nice. The game would be so easy. It's cold, the only light coming from the iridescent, strange crystals lining the walls. Ugh, my head is killing me. Did I fall down somewhere? Where are the others and how— Ah! As he stands, he nearly crumples again from a crippling sensation. It's as if the darkness outside is trying to crawl inside him, pushing and pulling at his body. A fleeting image flashes behind his eyelids. A beast cloaked in black feathers and so hungry. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Whoa! That's sick. Wait, that's so cool. Just as the pressure becomes unbearable, threatening to bruise his skin and crush his bones, it fades somewhat. Still there, but a little more tolerable, akin to a small tension headache. Oh, poor Haka, no! Bro, I love how— why is Altair the only one that's like, fine? Main character things. Now I wanna rewatch Reincarnate as a Slime. You should, it's pretty good. Pretty good. The art is so nice in this game. I know, it's so cool. The lingering ache leaves Haka more irritated than perturbed. I don't know how to pronounce that word properly. Damn it, I need to pull myself together. I don't have time for this. I need to find the others. Poor Haka, aww. Plot armor, for real, oh my gosh. Bedel, Shinri, Flayon? Is anyone there? Nothing answers. There's only the darkness, the ache from before, and a horrible silence. No, is he by himself? No, Haka! Poor guy. Belatedly, it occurs to him that even if the others were here, he wouldn't be able to see them. Hi, Snotshot12. Perhaps, supplies a voice in his head. They're here, but they can't hear you. Oh, interesting. He ignores it and stubbornly tries again. Shinri, where are you? A few hours pass, at least according to Haka. It's probably just like 10 minutes, bro. Guys, hello? Altair Magni, you there? Aww. His voice falters. The heaviness from before weighs on him, drowning out the repressive ache. Axel? Vesper? Anyone? Aw, no. But nobody answers. No, he's actually by himself. No, poor guy. Maybe he'd been the only one to fall down here, and the others are on the surface looking for him. Oh no, bro, they're all down there. He thinks about their faces, and somehow, they all look so sad. Oh wait, this is so sad. What the heck? He's a little bit delusional, but like... Maybe they're down here. Yeah, they are. Somewhere in the dark, unable to hear him, lying cold and lifeless. Okay, why are you assuming they're dead? Whoa, hold on, back up. Hold on. Hold on. Come on, Haka, come on. You can't just assume that they're dead. What the heck? No, I can't accept that. I won't. Bro, they're not Bro. Bro's delusional. He continues to walk. He has to get out. If they are gone, then they'd want him to live. They're not, bro, chill. Oh my gosh. They'd all want him to be safe, because that's the kind of friends they are. Okay, that's true though. His eyes burn and his heart pounds wildly in his ears. He doesn't want this to be the end. He's so distracted, he almost doesn't hear faint sounds coming from up ahead in the cavern. Huh? Thankfully, his ears are sharp. He listens more intently. Strange. Can't seem to... I wonder who is it, guys? Place your bets. Place your bets. They're all gone just like Ringo. What are you talking about? I'm right here. Hello? Hello? Okay, well... I wonder who it is. One voice, a soothing baritone voice, with distinct rising and falling inflections. Oh, it's Shinri! I think. Then... See, we could always guild... I bet it's Flayon. A second one that is bassy and rumbles pleasantly in the air. Oh. Oh, wait, maybe it's Vesper and Shinri. A swelling feeling rises in his chest, filling Haka with joy, and he begins to sprint. He knows those voices. Oh, this is so cute! Oh, that's so cute. Ringo's gone playing Project Diva. Okay, guys, today we're gonna go play Project Diva. Hopefully we clear some good hard maps today. No, I'm kidding. Vespi Shinri! Huh? Haka? Where'd you... Ah! Haka nearly collides with the two older men, jumping around in sheer elation. Aww. That's cute. Haka, I'm glad you're okay. Is it just you? Poor bro was all alone. Yeah, it's just me. I couldn't find anyone else. It's okay. We were also trying to find the others, but we've run into some issues. Haka looks at Vesper, who seems frustrated, teeth worrying at his lip. Huh? Like what? Well, for one, this place is crawling with monsters, strange ones too, like I've never seen. And Trinity been having to solo most of them. I want to help besides just healing, but... Vesper lets out a quiet, mournful sound. It's okay, Haka's here now, he can fight. I lost my spear. It must have fallen down someplace I can't reach. I couldn't find it anywhere. It was my favorite one, too. Given how lovingly he cherishes his spears, this is indeed a tragedy. Shuri gives Vesper a sympathetic pat on the shoulder. Well... Haka pulls out his dual spears. Separating them, he offers one side to Vesper. Here, you can use this one. What? Oh, no, I couldn't. This is yours. What if I... Really, Vespi, it's fine. Take it. An earlier image of his guildmates lying still and glassy-eyed flashes through Haka's head. Oh my gosh. He shakes it away and offers the spear more insistently. Aww, we love Haka. He's so sweet. Homie for real, homie for real. Besides, I think I'd feel better too if you had a way to defend yourself. Vesper hesitates for a second before taking the spear gently. Aw, he's so sweet. He holds it almost reverently, like he's handling Haka's firstborn. It's both funny and very sweet, and Haka chuckles internally at how serious he's being. Thank you, Haka. I promise I'll take good care of her. Item lost, double spear. Item get. Single spear. Wow, yay! 2 single spears. Okay. Just as that handoff occurs, all 3 of them are startled by a horrifically loud squeal. What the hell? Beside him, Shinri looks around before zeroing in on something off in the distance. Who's getting attacked? Who is getting attacked? Who do I have to save? He points at a shambling, approaching mass. Uh-oh. Look over there. It's a bunch of monsters. And in the front, that looks like a... I wonder who it is. A boar? Oh. That's not what I was expecting. Bro, I thought it was gonna be Flayon or Bedel. Maybe we get another pet. Ahead, leading a herd of other creatures, a sizable boar steps out of the darkness. It snorts and lets out a low, distorted growl. Out of its body juts several iridescent crystals. Instinctively, the three bring out their weapons, and the boar roars and charges. Here they come! Okay. Here we go. Whoa, there's a lot of them. What the heck? Holy! 60! 60 HP! Defeat the giant boar. Oops. Well, I guess we do have some signs of life down here after all. I guess that's an interpretation for this thing. It's no beast we can't handle, though. Whatever it is, it's definitely not friendly. Closer. Oh. Huh? Did I just hear something from that crystal? No, Haka, you're hearing things. Okay, well... Is this the... war? Okay. We'll put him there. We'll put Haka here. And we'll just move them all. Oh my gosh. Oh, ally. Wait, what's his range? 2. Oh, okay. Bruh. Attack. I'll attack this one. Raven's Paradigm. Okay, attack. We'll grab this one because it's closer. Concept bet might be a pet if you can save it. I think so. Or it might have already been with us, but I don't think so. Okay. Can I move this guy? Okay, I don't think so. Watch those tusks, Haka. Uh-oh. I got this. It can't stab me if I move faster. Right, you just gotta move faster. Bruh. It still hit you, bruh. Oh, Haka's doomed. It's so cooked. Bruh. Bro, Haka is cooked. Okay, go back here and heal. Usually ally units are friendly NPC. You could probably interact with it. Okay. Talk. That bat there, it doesn't seem inclined to attack. Does anyone else hear this strange sound? Is that a signal? This sounds oddly familiar. There's a high-pitched noise coming just from the direction of the bat in question. Further investigation concludes the sound is originating directly from the small creature. Hey, Vesper, it's staring right at you. I think it's supposed to be a... Oh shoot, I don't remember his fan name. Vesties? I think it's a Vestie. It's definitely making that noise at you, but I don't understand what it could be trying to say. The bat flies towards Vesper, accepting the offer to land on his arm. Almost immediately, the cry evolves into a loud... I don't even want to attempt that. You sound just like my besties. Oh, that's why it sounds so familiar to me. But it's not a bestie, right, Vesper? Like, what? I don't even... Like, what? What noise is that even? I'll be honest, I don't recognize it. It's not one of my besties, but it still feels like one. Huh. Interesting, interesting. That's probably the same thing with the adventurer. Well, whatever it is, it seems like it wants to stay with you. What do you think? Should we take it with us? I think you got it down perfectly. Stop. The bat flaps its tiny wings, abandoning the scholar's arm to relocate to atop Vesper's hair. It soon settles itself, like it doesn't intend on leaving anytime soon. I don't think I'm the one to make those decisions. It's just a little guy and already made up its mind. I don't want it to think I hate it. Yay! It's an item. Okay, sick. We're gonna attack. Can I attack this? No? Okay, fine. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh! You can't dodge- you can just dodge the giant boar, but you can't dodge the little slime. You alright, Shinri? He's fine. Those things sure pack a punch, huh? The slime? It did like 3 damage. Is his... wait. Range is 1 to 2. Okay. So I can move him here, and I can attack this. I guess... wait. We'll just attack the slime for now. Oh, I can get this. Okay. One shot! No, he probably can't. Okay, and then... oh! Let's go gambling, I guess. Nice. Yay, okay. We'll just go right up. We'll just go right up to it. Yay! Yes, make him break! Let him be consumed by darkness. Allow him to unleash his real power. What? Who is this? You... alright there, Haika? Pro gamer. Yeah, pro gamer moves for real. There they go. I don't think they'll be coming back anytime soon. Bit quick to run, huh? I wonder why they came charging all of a sudden. We won! Take that, you... Haka tossed the dead boar with a conservative amount of cursing in both Spanish and English. That's so in character. What the heck? What the heck? Huh, there he goes. I guess that means you're alright then? At Vesper's query, Haka calms down, turning to face him and Shinri. As he opens his mouth to answer, however, he winces and rubs at his right arm, Bro, poor Haka's just suffering. Yeah, I'm alright. Just a little sore, I think. Shinri observes the movement, and he shares a glance with Vesper. Bro, they know, they know. Despite the mutual concern, neither comments on it. That's good. Well, before you found us, we were trying to figure out how to find the rest of the guild. Did you hatch any ideas? Maybe? I don't know if you two still have yours. Vesper fishes around in his coat pocket before producing something, holding it up. But I still have my guild communicator. Whoa, really? Nice! I totally don't have mine. I think it dropped out of my pocket when I fell. Of course. And mine's definitely a goner after I landed on it. Lucky you saved yours. Well, don't say lucky yet. I still don't know if it works. He fiddles around with it for a bit. Eventually, a low static emits from it. Hello? Guild Tempest? Is anyone out there? This is Vesper speaking. Over. They fall silent, listening. I don't think... Well, Vettel's lucky, so he might have his. But there's only static. Maybe they just lost or broke their communicators too? Or maybe it doesn't work underground, you know, like most things. Vesper pulls a face, brow furrowing as he bites his lip. Maybe, but it seems unlikely I'm the only one whose communicator survived. That's true. No, I think it's a connection issue. What did I say? What did I say, bro? This abyss is a dead zone. Even if they're down here, they couldn't hear us either way. A heavy quiet settles around them, each mulling in their own thoughts. Vesper turns the communicator off, tucking it back into his pocket. That seems to break the spell of silence, and Shinri clears his throat. Better get moving. We shouldn't hang around too long in case more giant boars come knocking. Then he gives them a reassuring smile. They'll be okay, guys. They're resourceful. Let's just hope for their safety. I'm sure everyone's fine. And now we see them again soon. Right. Yeah. Alright, let's go. Hoping to reunite with their guildmates safe and sound, the three delve back into the unknown. Unbeknownst to them, hidden in the dark, something watches them go. Oh no. Something with bright eyes and a black heart. What the? What could it be? End of Act 2. That's crazy. Act 3. So, how many groups do you think they split off into? Wait. Probably 3. Fading in and out of consciousness, Axel struggles to awaken. So it's probably Axel with Betel and Flay on. What appears to be an unfamiliar voice echoes. Little buddy. Just hang on, little buddy. Oh, that's Betel. Who? Yeah, he's talking to you. No, he's probably talking to Phantom. Oops. What the heck? Hello? Please be safe. I'll find you again, I promise. Oh, he's talking about Phantom. Where? After struggling with his aching body that yearns for more rest, Axel comes to. Standing up slowly, he looks around where he had fallen. Axel had landed on a ridge overlooking an underground lake. Ooh! Below him, crystals shine through the completely still and clear water. I love how Betel, like, does not care about Axel being there at all. At the bottom of the lake is a gravelly shore littered with several... alligators? Several alligators dot the shore beneath where Axel had landed. A few have turned their heads toward Axel, but make no attempts to climb up and make him their meal. Oh my gosh. Cool art. In the distance, a voice more familiar than the previous one echoes. Axel strains his ears. Buddy, where are you? Betsy! Phantom! That's not Phantom. Where are you, buddy? Sup? Axel, you're here. Have you seen Phantom? No, I have not. Are you sure? Bro, I walked about halfway around this lake and I haven't seen him. Just some outlet. Alright, if he wasn't on your half of the lake and he wasn't on my half, I'm gonna guess he hasn't found anyone else. No point sticking around. Those scaly crabs might be after us. Having made it past the land bridge, Axel and Bello venture into the cave system. Not long after entering, the pair come to a fork in the path. Wow, I wonder which way they're gonna go. Shoot, a fork in the path. Okay, you guys gotta stick together, okay? The cave's been twisting for a bit. I think we might be in some kind of maze. Oh, how nice. How lucky. No sweat. Me and Shuri have mastered mazes at this point. Bello charges at the path directly ahead. Oh my gosh. After a few seconds, Bello runs back to the junction. Dead end. Yeah, I can see it from here. Alright then, right it is. Once again, Bello charges, this time to the right path. And once again, Bello returns. Also a dead end. I thought so. There's a draft coming from the left here. Alright then, follow my lead. Axel, why didn't you say anything? You just let him run off on his own? Hold on. Something smells like... Bo. Don't tell me... Oh no. Where's Flayon when you need him, bro? Okay. Shoot, more alligators coming from behind us. Ah! Where did they come from? They're probably the ones that were sniffing at my feet while I was out. Y'all need to get off my ass for real. How are we going to get through this? Slowly. Picking off the alligators in front of us while fighting back the alligators behind us. Just stay close together and we'll get through this. Okay. Man, if only we had help. Flayon? Escape or defeat Boss Gator. Okay. Those biscuits were pretty good. Are those the ones in those bacon smelling boxes we get at the guild every now and again? Oh my gosh, the dog treats. Yup, every month. Phantom loves them. So they're dog treats. You fed me dog treats. Hey, you liked them. Yup. You know I'm not a dog, right? Sure, buddy, sure. Listen, this is the best healing we're gonna get down here until we find the others. They don't have anything except dog treats. Compared to the rest of Guild Tempest, Bello's stats leave much to be desired. Oh. Listen, we can't all be caked up and have big packs or giant mechas. Oh my gosh. That's true though. But Bello does have a special ability. Try moving Bello next to Axel and choose Perform. Perform? Like a magic trick? I've got plenty of those, but what will that do? Stat boost? Hey Axel, watch this! Bello sticks his hand inside his hat. Ta-da! Bello pulls out a receipt from the grocery store. Wait, that's not... Suddenly, an obscene amount of tomatoes falls out of the sleeve of the opposite arm. Damn, Betsy, you always impress with your tricks. Alright then, my turn to do something cool. Axel can take another action! Yo! Bello's Perform ability allows other members of Guild Tempest to move and take another action in the same turn. Yo! Wait, that's really good. Use this ability to move slower members faster, or for stronger members to take down more enemies. Yes! Yo, wait, that's cool. Oh, I can talk. Concept Lizard. I think they forgot to change the names. Oops. Alright, who's next? You? Whoa. Slow down there. I don't think this little guy is with the others. Hey there, little fella. What's a guy like you doing? Ah! He spat at me! Feisty little guy, ain't he? Let me give it a shot. Inspire, reassure, be playful. Be playful. Axel grabs the lizard by the tail and starts tossing it into the air. Okay. Maybe that was the wrong one. The lizard seems to be having fun. Okay, maybe it is the right one. What the heck? Perform. Attack. Oh, this one's stronger. Holy! Okay. It's an axolotl. This is lore accurate though, what the heck? Of course Axel does the most damage. Okay, sure. That works too. Nice. Do it again. Oh my gosh. 117! This guy's crazy! Okay, I think we can get out of here. Wait. I want the chest though. We're gonna go here, perform, and then Axel can grab the chest. Healing potion. Finally, they don't have to eat dog trees, bro. Can I move this guy? No. Okay. Little flame on the left. Oh, this? Can I even? I don't think I can go there. I think I gotta go around. Boss Gator. Mystery. Oh, question marks. Wait. Do I want to know? Message. Ooh. Okay, wait. Okay, we'll go. I wanna know. They're like inching slowly closer, but like... I'll grab the chest first. Some items cannot be used, but will grant a skill while in the inventory of the proper character. Try giving the top hat to Battle. Oh, I had to give it to him because I picked it up with Axel. Frick. Okay, Battle can't go that far, so we'll just put him right here. I think Axel will be fine. There's so many of them. Check. Whoa. Tartarus Expedition Day. Time? I don't think this place experiences it anymore. I feel no hunger, thirst, or pain. The memories of my companions are fading. Oh, that's scary. I know I had some. Just... what did they look like? I've wandered the caverns I don't know how many times to find their crystal forms and shape their features, but the statues kept growing and those are now just blobs of blue light. They have replaced the stars from outside. It seems the leader is assimilating to this dungeon in a way. He stares at the crystals and they morph with his gaze. He's recreated our home, images of our friends, and supplies me with materials to draw and write. He says I should try to keep myself together for a bit longer. I don't understand. Why can't I just die? Why can't I escape the forever burning crystalline light? Why? Why won't this dungeon just finally claim me too? Leader's the only one tying me together now. Dang, bro. Dang. That's crazy. Lore drop for real. All-nighter lurking. Hi, Ajax. Hello, hello. Please don't pull an all-nighter. Please sleep. Please rest. But it's been a little while. How have you been? Doing a little something, so gonna lurk. Have a good lurk. Journal has been updated. Okay, well, I think that I need to perform right next to him, so we'll just check. Oh, I don't even need Axel to get. I don't even need to get Axel all the way over there. Okay. Looks like we made it across. No reason to stick around here. But we still haven't found Phantom yet. Will you continue without exploring the rest of the map? Okay, I guess I'll go explore. Fine. We'll stick around a little longer, but we can't stay here forever. Why don't we check out that lizard over there? It hasn't attacked us, unlike everything else in this cave. I thought I got it already. Bruh. I thought I already went over the little guy. I guess I gotta talk to it. It's kind of surrounded though. Okay, Axel. You got this. Yeah. Been busy with some friends and all that. Overall, I've been good. I hope you're... Yeah. Oh my gosh, hanging out with friends is so much fun. Gosh. Perform. Okay, well, attack, I guess. I gotta get the little guy. Yeah, I've been doing well too. Oh, good luck, Betel. Oh, jeez. Oh! Never mind. I guess he's just fine on his own. Dude, there's so many of them. It's kind of funny. Talk. Inspire. I don't know what that is. Axel offers impassion and I don't know that word. Encouragement. There we go. The lizard seems amused by the big man's funny words. That's it? Okay. We go again, I guess. Reassure. Axel caresses the lizard with a gentle but firm hand. Easy now. Must be rough living down here. But we're not from around here, so you don't have to worry about us. The lizard relaxes to Axel's touch, rubbing up against his palm. Aw, cute. Aw, that's a good little guy. Look at that. I think he likes you. This little guy had it tough. Being surrounded by mofos bigger than him. Oh. That's my bad. Seems he wants to hang by the strongest one. Alright, you can stick by us if you want. Yay! Okay. Oh, of course it targets Betel. Again? Axel is right there, you know. Okay, well, XP farming for Betel, I guess. Oh! What the hit is 12? Okay. Unlucky for real. Bruh. Well, that's okay. Axel will be fine by himself. Yeah, GG. Man, I want to get the little fire, but it's all the way. We gotta go all the way around. So I'm not gonna. Okay, let's go. Oh, it's different. It seems it still wants to fight. Will you go back or will you keep going? No! We're gonna leave because Bettel's dead, bro. We're trying to find our friends. Do you want to help? The lizard hops up and down excitedly. Alright then, you're with us. Alright, Chop Chop. Time's a wasting and those alligators still after us. Where's Flayon? Is he by himself? Bruh. Okay, well... The soft light of the crystals act like a soft guide of the strange cave system. Wait, so we're just... not... What about Flayon, bruh? What about Flayon? That's my Oshi. Altair and Magni still have no idea what's going on, where they are, and what purpose this strange place serves. Still, finding their teammates is their highest priority, despite their latest slime friend they found a few hours ago. Oh, it's been hours? That's crazy. Carrying the slime on his arms, Altair's in high spirits while Magni can't stop thinking about this place. Oh my gosh, hi Kami. What the heck? Why are we sending threats to Aki now? What the heck? Tell me, Altair, doesn't this little guy here look awfully a lot like your adventures at the guild? It's attached to you like glue. It feels different though. My adventures feel a bit warmer and their squishiness is also different. What? Squishiness tier list. Go work your job. You're at work right now? What are you doing here? You're gonna get racked against the wall. What is happening? What is happening? I'm working from home. Oh, okay. Okay. There's a difference between squishiness? Really? Why am I not surprised that you, of all people, know everything about slimes? Altair laughs, making the slime wiggle on his arms. Then they both fall quiet as they hear strange noises. Is it Flayon? Did you hear that? Yup, loud and clear. Sounds awfully like those owls or goblins near our guild. Sometimes you can hear them passing us. Shush! Magni shushes his guild leader, pressing his finger against his lips. Just then, 3 goblins pass by without noticing them. Phew, that was close. Too close for my taste. Tell me about it. I'm sick of this dungeon. Yeah, me too. Where's Flayon? Magni peeks after the goblins, noticing something about them. Hey, Altair? What is it, Des? Those goblins there, they have the same crystals on their bodies as the ones on the walls. Do they? They do look familiar. And they also look weirdly... corrupted? Staticky? Yeah, just like on the floor where we found Squishy. His name is Squishy now? Okay. Speaking of him, he seems to be unaffected by them. Any clue how that might be possible? Magni looks first at the slime, then back to the goblins who are screeching at each other. The girls are fighting. After a moment of thought, the alchemist shakes his head. Can't tell you that, bud. This whole dungeon here is a mystery to me. There's so many puzzle pieces that don't fit together, no matter how I twist and turn them. Altair looks down at his slime companion, then looks at the alchemist with a frown. I know that face, and my answer is no. Huh? I didn't even say anything. You stared at those crystals on the walls. You won't touch them, and you definitely won't take them with you. Got it? Okay, what if I want to eat them? Hey, get out of my head, Altair. Shh. Shushing them. Be quiet, Des. Altair presses his finger over his own lips, shushing his friend. They're just shushing each other. I want to cause as little ruckus as possible. Who knows what monsters might live here? Besides, when I had to drag your ass away from those crystals, my armor reacted. I'm worried for our guildmates, and I'm gonna do everything I can to bring us all together again and out of here. Until then, we stick together. Alright, Des? And when you find something strange, you tell me. Yeah. I got it, Altair. The alchemist huffs, taking off his vambrace to itch his arm. Oh. Uh-oh. What is that? Uh-oh. That's not good. That's not good. That's not normal. He stops still for a few moments as he observes his revealed skin. Bro, what the heck? The skin has turned blue with crystals that grow in a manner similar to the scales of a dragon. Uh-oh. When he pokes it with his finger, the crystallized skin feels oddly rough. The alchemist swallows, clenching his teeth. So that uneasy feeling in his stomach wasn't for nothing. Maybe he'll turn into a dragon. Wow, I hope he doesn't have to. I hope we don't have to fight the dragon. When Altair pipes up, his first instinct is to replace the vambrace, acting casual. Des, you good? He's perfectly fine, guys. Yep, everything's good. Don't worry. Just a bit tired, that's all. Magni is half expecting to be caught in his lie, but Altair doesn't seem to catch it. Much to his relief, he doesn't need to burden Altair with more worries right now. Those crystals on his skin can wait. Holy moly, that is terrifying, bro. He couldn't even tell it was happening. Another group of 5 goblins walks past them, carrying something red over their shoulders. Oh my gosh, it's Flayon! Flayon, come on. Altair frowns. I swear, if it's actually Flayon. Doesn't that look awfully familiar to you? It's Flayon. Come on, bro. You can't let yourself get kidnapped by a bunch of goblins. What the heck? Hello? This guy. That's Flayon's. It's one of his control panels. Okay. It's not Flayon himself, but it's still close, pretty close. But he got robbed by goblins. Come on, Flayon. Come on, lock in. But where's Flayon? That's what I've been asking! The guild leader carefully ventures forward, his comrade following close behind. As they follow the group, they see a makeshift camp, houses built from all kinds of material. Rocks from the walls, some dead wolves, some skeletons. Bro. And now one of Flayon's panels, which becomes a makeshift roof. Nice. They're being resourceful, I guess. Where did they find that? Maybe we can capture one alive and force it to talk? I have ways to do that. They can talk? Just as the hero turns to Magni, he's distracted by a larger crystal at the camp. Together, they dare to venture a bit closer, trying to get a good glimpse of that crystal. Holy crap, this is a huge one. I wonder what made it so huge. Eh? Altair observes something unique at the foot of the crystal, pointing at it. Oh my gosh, it's Flayon! There's someone there! A human. Wait, that's Flayon! Flayon? He's here? At this camp? Shoot, that is him. They must have found him and dragged him here. Bro looks pretty dead to me. No, Flayon! Bro actually did get kidnapped. What the flip? Come on, bro, lock in. Lock in. It's because he's a grandpa. It's because he's a grandpa. He's just taking a nap. Just taking a nap. It is indeed Flayon who rests on the ground, his wrists tied behind his back and his eyes closed. Bro, he actually got kidnapped. Lock in. Lock in. Wait, I'm gonna pull up the freaking. Oh my gosh. Bro needs to log in. How did he get kidnapped and everyone else is fine? Where should I put this? I'll leave it here. Maybe here. Okay, fine, lock in. Actually, what the heck? This is my Oshi? What is this guy doing? Lock in, bruh. He has a few bruises on his head. Altair can't tell if it's from the fall or the goblins. Possibly both. Probably both. I'm gonna... Oh gosh. I'm gonna move this. We'll put it here. For now. There we go. We'll put it there for now. So it's out of the way. Oh my gosh. But he knows he has to act quickly. Who knows how long Flayon's been near that giant crystal. Oh, he'll probably be fine. He's immune to corruption, so... What if it's dangerous? Grabbing Magni by the wrist, he marches forward. Let's go, Des. We need to get him out quickly. No time for a plan. We can handle this. Quick today, eh? Sounds fine to me. Let's get him out of there. Oh my gosh. Wait, why is the map so big? Victory conditions reach Flayon. Lose conditions. Flayon is defeated? He can die in this? Oh, no. Oh my gosh. Flayon's over there. We have to reach him before something happens to him. Bruh. Why is he the damsel in distress right now? Looks like we should be able to break through their defenses and get him out. If we're careful, that is. Lock in. I gotta lock in, chat. I won't let him die. Trust. I can't fail my Oshi. Our positions on the battlefield matter. If we're careless, we could easily be overpowered by numbers. Frag, I have to pay attention. Good call. There's only 2 of us. Goblins are usually not that big of an issue, but their strength comes in numbers. So let's stick together and get Flayon out here. Where is he? Where even is that guy? Oh, right here. He has like no HP either, bruh. Okay, well. Come on. Bruh. Attack. Or maybe we'll attack with Altair to be safe. My gosh. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Magni. Oh, they can't really move that far. Okay, thank goodness. We'll heal. We'll heal. I guess. Weapon? Oh my gosh. I have 1 potion left. Okay, I think it'd still be a good idea to heal. he doesn't have a ton of HP either. Okay. Trade? I don't know what that is. Attack! Go, Magni, come on. You got this. Nice, okay. Yay! Okay. How's Flayon doing? Okay, I have to get there fast. So we're gonna ignore this guy. Okay. I guess I'll... Ooh, lore though. I want the lore. So maybe I'll go over there quickly. These type of games, if you stand on certain spaces, you might get some defense. Yeah, it would be the mushrooms for this one. This map. We're just gonna go. We're just gonna go. Altera, you can. I want the lore. We reached the end of the dungeon. Does we still apply when there are only 2 people? Leader and I figured out the puzzle only yesterday. It took us this long, and we lost everyone. Our guildmates, our friends, were taken over by the crystals. They all became a part of the dungeon. They're shiny too for real now. We're the only 2 left. The rooms with crystal spawners contain the clues to open the path to the ending. Why didn't we find them months ago? Why did this place have to take them first? Leader feels unsure of the answers. The pattern was obvious after looking around a bit. After finding the boss room, we locked the mechanism that shifts the caverns. No more do they change, and now we will not get lost and trapped. Or so we thought. There was no boss, just another empty cavern with crystals tinkling, sparkling, and emitting light. The end had no exit back to the surface, nor any indication of rappling equipment we had left behind to kiss this cursed place goodbye. Just nothing. A blank wall, locked in. Well, at least I don't feel hungry anymore. That's so sad! Well, I hope that doesn't happen to us. Gee. Are you good, bro? Healing crystals. Okay. Come on, Ragni. This is bad. We can't reach Flayon. There's just too many, and I'm getting pre-spent. What do you mean? You're right in front of him! He's right there! There's nothing there, bro! There's nothing there. Bro. Magni, lock in! He's right there! Literally? Oh my gosh. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Unlike you, I can do this all day. Oh, that was Altair. Okay, maybe you can't reach him, but Magni's right there. Maybe you, but not Flayon. What can we do to help him? Oh? Oh, yay! Here they are. I knew I heard those glass bottles from somewhere. I can't believe you heard that from all the way across. Well, I'm glad you did. Hey, Yisu, how's it going? Oh my gosh. Yay, reinforcements. You kind of look like you're in trouble, you think? Well, not really, but like... Hey guys, what are you doing here? Wait. Is that Flayon over there? No, that's, no, that's Phantom actually. No, bro, it is him. Let's go, we have no time to waste. Let's meet up with Altair and Magni first, and then get Flayon out of that place, alright? Whoa. Oh, they're down there, okay. What is this? Attack. What the heck? What do you mean you didn't one-shot him? Altair, come on, bro. Okay. I can get to Flayon with Magni. Oh. Bro, these guys didn't even have to show up. I didn't get any of the chests, but that's okay. And they're fleeing, as expected. Yeah! Get the hell away from Flayon! That's such a Haka line. You couldn't have arrived a minute later. This was looking pretty bad for us. Was it? Let me grab Flayon. Are you two okay? That looked tense. I think I was doing pretty fine. I think we did pretty well. But that was a lot of goblins. Thanks for showing up. The designers were probably assuming you tried to get the chests first. True. I kind of wasn't paying attention to them. I was just like, get Flayon! I'm just glad we got here on time. So, how is Flayon? Will he be okay? I was able to heal most of the damage. He's a tough guy. He'll be... Oh my gosh, is he awake? Just in that moment, Flayon opens his eyes in Shinri's arms. Yay! Good morning, sunshine. Rise and shine. Hey there, buddy. What happened to you? Confused, Flayon looks around. After a moment of collecting his memories, he sighs. I don't remember much, if I'm honest. It's in bits and pieces. Fragments. The only one injured and who got kidnapped. No, I know. What the heck? Of all people. Of all people, it was Flayon. If anyone, I think it should have been Betel. Like, realistically. I don't know, maybe Flayon was just sleepy. He's just a sleepy guy. I don't know. That's so funny though. Don't worry too much. You don't have to remember everything now, alright? Yeah, you're safe now with us. Which means only Betel and Axel are missing. Oh, they're probably fine. Speaking of them, you didn't happen to see them on your way to us, right? Nuh-uh. Not even a clue. We fought a bunch of weird boars before we found you by accident. Shinri insisted he heard noises that sounded just like you. How the heck do we have signature noises? I don't know, we just do. It's hard to explain. It was just pretty Altera and Magni-y, you know? Shinri turns his head aside with a chuckle. Ah, now I remember a few things. I remember I fell. I tried to use my panels, but... Wait, my panels, where are they? Hastily, Flayon jumps back to his feet, balancing his body with his arms out like a duck. But then, he finds what he's looking for. Bro, it's in their makeshift house now. My panels! Wait, did the goblins use your panels as roofs for their houses? That's so funny. Gah! Those are not shingles! They're sturdy shields for combat, with a bunch of dummies. And with that, Flayon is running to the houses, tearing them apart like a wild beast. I would too. I would too. Haga is close behind him, clapping to encourage his comrade. Well, looks like Flayon's okay. More or less. But what should we do now, Altair? Are we looking for Betel and Axel now? Well, why would you not? Honestly, I don't really want to go much farther in without knowing where they are. But they can't be farther down. We woke up at the deepest part. It only goes up from here. I see. Have you tried the communicators already? We did, but we have literally no signal here. Ugh, that's unfortunate. That means we had to find them all by ourselves, right? Altair nods, looking over his shoulder to observe Flayon as he blows up a goblin house in pure anger. Okay, Flayon, chill. Oh my gosh. I hope they're okay. I'm not worried about Axel, but... Don't worry, they'll be fine. Let's just hope they're together and sit tight until we find them, okay? They're definitely not. sitting tight. Definitely not. Be hopeful. Only 2 members left and we can head out of here. Alright. Sounds like we're leaving. Time to find Axel and Betel, and hopefully in one piece. But just as Altera is gathering Flayon and Haka, Vesper points to Magni and nods to Shinri. Almost immediately, the alchemist's body language shifts uneasily. Uh-oh. He noticed. Magni, are you okay? Do you maybe want some rations? You look troubled. Huh? Nah, I'm fine. Just glad everyone is here now. Don't worry. Sure, buddy, sure. Vesper gives a glance to Shinri, but then just follows behind Altair. End of Act 4. How long is this game? Maybe we'll do one more. Halfway done. Alright. We'll do one more for today. Hey, does it look like there are fewer crystals here than there were in the other areas? Now that you mention it, yes, I think so. Curious, is there a significance to it, you think? Maybe, but we should think about that later. For now, let's see about finding the rest of the boys, yeah? Speaking of curious things, Phantom was acting pretty strangely when he led us to you. Oh. They found Phantom? You were led here by Phantom? Maybe that means Betel's nearby. Maybe, but we never actually saw him. Phantom found us, led us to you, and then poof! He was gone. Oh. But anyway, as you were saying, Shinri? Phantom was acting weird? Yeah, he seemed weaker. The same way someone might look if they hadn't eaten in days. Oh no, Phantom! Well, since the little guy's not here, there's not much we can do about it right now. That's true. Guess we'll just have to work on finding him again. Hopefully, he'll be with Betel when we find him. Alright, let's keep moving then. The more ground we cover, the more likely we are to find them. Wait, hold on. Des, your cheek is bleeding. Let me fix that up for you. Ah, is it? Thanks. No problem, dude. Just try to be more careful in the future, got it? Alright. Chill out, Vez. One little cut on my cheek isn't gonna kill me. If left untreated, it very well could. Flayon? You alright? Yeah, coming. Wait, what's all this? Oh no! 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 What? Bruh. Why is it always my Oshi? Why is it always my Oshis that are the doomed ones? He's so cooked. Oh no, him and Magni both. Eh? All of what? This, you've got little crystals on you, like the ones around us. Bruh. We just found him. I don't know. It won't come off. Why him, bro? Why him? What? Let me try. You're right. I'm not sure, but it feels like it might be growing on him. Bruh. You're kidding. Hello? Only one injured and to get kidnapped and now this. I know, what the heck? He's going through it. Magni? You too, huh? Eh? Wait, don't say... I think you're right, Altair. It appears Magni's been affected by it too. Bruh, Shinri. Huh? Des? Damn it. It wasn't your business to tell them, Shinri. Were you trying to hide it? No, I was just... No, you definitely were. You weren't gonna tell us. Des, why? I wasn't gonna hide it forever. Yeah? Then when were you planning on telling us? When you've already turned into a giant rock? Dang. The girls are fighting. No, you should have noticed. You should have told us as soon as you noticed it, dude. We've got 2. Vesper. Oh, that's not good. 3. Vez? What's wrong? What happened? I was trying to inspect Flan's crystal problem because it looks worse than we first thought. Look at how much there is. That's... Holy crap. There's so much. Another problem arose as soon as I touched it. Our fingers. They've been affected now too. Okay, so, don't touch them, I guess. Yeah, so don't touch it. No amount of healing seems to be affecting it either. They're so cooked! They're so cooked! So, are y'all just stuck like this now? I don't know. For now, we can only hope there's a way to reverse this. Let's move. Let's find the others as quick as we can and get you guys to a... Bro, I bet that's Betel. What did I say? What did I say? Betel? Let's move. Well... Gah! Oh my gosh, what is happening? Quit your screaming, yo. Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to just take my death by hammer silently? Yeah, maybe I do. Why are they fighting now too? Oh, freak you. Calm your ass down. You're not gonna freaking die, man. How do you know? Gra! Oh, this is it. This is the end. Mama! Gra! Huh? No death? Axel, Betel, Shinri, and there's 3 else too. You got good timing. Thanks for the save. Bro, Axel was so ready to watch him die. What the heck? Good timing? You call this good timing? Good timing would have been if they'd come earlier. Rather than arguing, how about we get us out of here? Hell yeah, bro. I'm tired and want out of this place. Then let's move, dudes. Wait. For what? That Minotaur. Do you see something in its hand? Is that... Phantom! We had to save him! Oh my gosh, Phantom! Bruh! We're on another rescue mission? What's in here? Message 3, message 4. What? I missed the first 2, bruh. Frick, now I have to go. I have to find them now. I have to get the other 2. Better pull out a bag of biscuits. I don't get. Okay. Wait, I don't have a top hat that I have to give to Betel. Heads up, boys. Here they come. Guys, Haka isn't looking too good. Des and Flay don't look much better. We can't stay here much longer. You're right. Here, you 3 hang back a bit. Let us handle the rest. No, can do, brother. I'm fine, alright? If we're doing this, we're doing it together. Okay. Don't I have... Oops. Wait. Does he already have it, or? Does Axel still have the hat? Trade. No, that's not what I wanted to do, bruh. Let's just do all the healing potions, I guess. Ah! My game crashed. When did I save? When was the last time I saved? Well. Okay, this is fine then. Oh my gosh. That's okay. At least I didn't start the thing. They're so doomed. They're all so cooked. Okay. 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 Trade. With battle. Axel's cute waifu. What does that do? I guess we'll do that. Sure. $225 is crazy work, bro. Oh my gosh. Actually, let's perform. I don't know if I want to go right up to him though. Okay. Their splash arts is so cool. Wait, I want to see Leon's. Okay, let's put Haka all the way over there. Oh. I didn't even... Okay. There's even more of them here. Blay, you doing okay? I'm alright, but... Okay, I could be better. But that's not important. We gotta rescue Bethel. We will, but it won't do anyone any good if you push yourself. Rely on us if you need to. Maggie and Haka, you guys too. These crystals do got me walking a little funny, if you know what I mean. Why'd you guys say it like that? Well, I want to see Flail's animation, so we're gonna... Okay... I do want Altera up there too, because he does a lot of damage too. This guy is going to solo this boss. Oh my gosh! Nice! Oh no, please don't get one shot. Oh, thank goodness. Thank freaking goodness, Battle. Holy freaking moly. 1 HP left? Are you kidding me? There's a little green dude at the bottom. Oh yeah! It's a bird. I think that's the one that you're talking about. Phantom! Phantom, can you hear me? It's gonna be okay. We'll save you. Hey, you freak! Let my baby boy go! Dude, this guy's pissed. Don't make him more mad. That guy is a minotaur, and what we should be doing is bracing ourselves. They don't mess around. Alright everybody, get ready. This will be an all-out full guild attack. This guy, concept bird. Oh, I need Haka to go down there then. Because it's a freaking Hakito. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, Flaon has a... He can move so far. Okay, well... Might as well hit this... Oh my gosh, archer support. Ignore defense. HP absorption. Holy moly. Okay, let's do this. On this guy. Oh my gosh! Wait, that's so cute. Oh my gosh, the splash art are so nice. Okay, battle. I'm gonna move him back here. Staff, what is this? Oh, okay. Can I not perform? Oh wait, okay, I think I need Axel to move first. Okay, Axel. Wait. What does this do? Learn skill item. Oh, should I use these then? Okay, we're gonna... Yes, come on, Axel. Attack. Oh. Huh? Okay. At this point, Axel's just soloing. That's everyone, right? Do I want the chest? I guess I can send Vesper to get it. Okay, Flay, come on. Yes? 96! I didn't even get the chance to get the chest, bro. I didn't even get the Hakito. What the heck? Flaon! He's mad. He's mad. Okay, well, sure. Phantom buddy, you're okay. Oh, stop. That tickles. Your boy is too strong. Yeah, what the heck? Aww. That's cute. Phantom seems way more affectionate than usual. True. But I doubt Bella's gonna complain about that. Aww, I love Phantom. Fascinating. Hmm? What's up? Take a look at this. Do you see anything odd? No? What am I supposed to be looking for? Crystallization, like ours and Flaon's. This thing's surely been here for a while, so why? Why isn't it crystallizing like us? Probably because Magni, you freaking touched the thing. Flaon probably did too. Exactly. What's this now? Found something? Oh, I didn't read the lore either. Frick. Flaon. I think so. Look at this. Another crystal? Wait, this one's different. Yeah, but look at my fingers. Your crystallized part is back to normal? This thing can do that? Yay! They're not doomed anymore! Wow. Apparently so. Let's see if it can help with yours as well. It's working! Yay! Huh? What's going on over there? Look, Altair. Look at what Vesper found on the Minotaur. It can help get rid of the crystallization. Flayon! Flay, come here. What's up? Something wrong? Hold this! Eh? What? Oh. Oh! It's going away! Yeah! Yay! Hell yeah! I knew we'd find some way to get rid of that crap. Alright. Now that we've solved that problem and saved Phantom, what do you guys say to getting out of here and going home? I doubt it's that easy. Hell yeah, bro. Let's go. Okay. Nope. Hello? Where's the menu? How do I guess we're just gonna close it. Oh my gosh, my schedule. Gosh. Okay, we're gonna leave it off for today. Cause I've been going for over 2 hours now. We'll definitely continue it though, cause I'm very interested in the story. The doomed ones are no longer doomed. Yay! They're safe again for now. Yeah, this game is a lot of fun. Very interesting story. I might continue it next week. Oh my gosh, let's get music. Yeah, I might continue it next week, next Thursday. For Holoindie Thursdays, yeah. We'll do more Protostar since I did figure it out finally. Oh my gosh. But yeah, why is Flayon doomed? He's always doomed. Poor guy. I think you have 3 more acts left. Do I just finish it today? No, I can't do another long stream. I streamed for 5 hours. I streamed for 5 hours yesterday. We gotta slow it down a little bit. We'll finish it next week. Yeah, we'll finish Protostar next week. Tomorrow, put my schedule back. Tomorrow we're doing Parasocial at 9 p.m. EST. Finally playing it. I guess I'll play Parasocial tomorrow. I bet you're so happy, Aki. And then Saturday at 10 p.m. EST, we're gonna play the Willow Mist Emporium demo. Yay! Super excited about that one. Oh my gosh. Super exciting. Since I couldn't play it last week. Oh, I'm so ready. You guys, I think this is the first dating sim that I'm playing on stream. Let's hope I don't go a little too crazy. Yeah. It should be fine mostly. 7-hour stream on Saturday? I don't think the demo's gonna take that long. I don't think so. It's not as scary as the game I played yesterday. Okay, but is there jump scares in Parasocial? Bro, you're like so chill. Hello? With that horror game? You're just laughing the whole time. I was like, what is this guy eating? With the freaking the dolls? Like, oh, I like that. I like that one. I like that level. It's fun. Hello? I love horror games. Yeah. Yeah, I can tell. I can tell. One or two? Okay. Um. Okay. I guess I'll just die when they play them. Yeah. Later today I'm going to see some one acts. Yay! At my old school, my old high school, cause I really liked the one acts at my old high school, so I'm going back. You're brave, you got it. As soon as I see those jump scares, I'm hiding. I'm running away and hiding in the corner. I don't know what you're talking about. Did you see me playing Bendy? Did you see me playing Bendy? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Horror games is terrible. It's not as scary. That's true. Bendy is like terrible for me. Survival horror is not my thing. Chasing, hiding. Bro, I get anxiety. It's really bad. But yeah, tomorrow horror game. I'm playing like a horror game every week. The heck? What is this? What is happening? Horror game next week. No horror game next week. No horror games next week. Let's see. What can I play next week? What can I play next week? Oh, I still need to finish. I still need to continue Higurashi. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I'm waiting for the next chapter for Illusion Carnival. Bro, I'm so excited for when it comes out. Very, very good game. I really enjoyed it. Maybe we'll do Project Diva next week. Maybe we'll play Project Diva again. Yeah, I'll figure out my schedule. Oh wait, next week is Christmas, bro. What the heck? I just realized. I just remembered. Next week is Christmas. I'm gonna be on the baking grind. Baking a bunch of cookies for everyone. Yeah. Gosh, I totally forgot. The heck? That's crazy. No horror for Christmas week. Yeah, exactly. Rigo's gonna be playing Project Diva while baking. I don't know how that's gonna work. I might do my autos on Star Rail. Christmas horror games, not this again. Not this again. Christmas horror games. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The one on my the Christmas horror game I saved in my wish list is on sale too. What the heck? No, no, no. We're not doing this. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. Yeah. Christmas horror games. No more horror games until next year. Yeah, next year. It's just a couple weeks away. Just a couple weeks away. Oh my gosh, 2026 already. So soon. This is crazy. Yeah, but Protostar Twilight. Yeah, it's really fun so far. I'm enjoying it. Maybe just not the part where Lana got kidnapped. But that's just bias. That's just me being biased because he's my Oshi. Horror games? Oh my gosh. No horror games. No horror games. No horror games. What the heck? Alan pulled up with the horror game mentioned. I'm not playing horror games. I'm playing one tomorrow, but that's it. That's it. Maybe after you beat it, you'll have to replay it and find all the secrets and lore. Yeah, I might. I did miss the first two notes. And maybe I'll go check out the little flame in the crocodile room with Bella and Axel. Yeah, I like the lore. I like lore. Yeah, maybe since we're basically almost done, I can probably go back next time I stream it. Horror games the first week of January. What? Okay, hold on, slow down. Right in time for my birthday, perfect. Oh no. Oh no. That means February has to be a no horror game. No horror game month. No horror games for my birthday month. Sure. We'll do that. We'll do that. I'll play some horror games in January. It can't be a cozy game month because they make you upset. That's true. I'll just play a bunch of visual novels and like visual novels and like story games. Yeah. That sounds a lot better to me. Yeah. Just play Peak for a month straight? Oh my gosh. It'll be Peak and Project Diva. How about that? I think that sounds good. Peak, Project Diva. Perfect. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna end it now. I think I want. Oh my gosh, I was gonna say I should get some cookie dough made so I can freeze it for next week before I have to leave tonight. Before I go out, but then I realized I forgot to take out the butter from the fridge. Okay, well, I guess no baking for me today. Well, that's okay. That's okay, I guess. Thanks for stream. Yeah, thank you guys for coming. Thank you, thank you. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you guys for coming. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a great day. Rest of your day, rest of your night. Yeah. To the lurkers as well, thank you for coming. I appreciate all of you. Yeah. Bye bye, Otsuringo. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.